Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today we're diving into something that is quite literally a game changer for both productivity and data privacy. We're talking about spinning up a wildly powerful multi-agent AI setup, but entirely locally, right on your own machine. If you follow the AI space, you know how amazing it is to have an AI assistant act on your behalf, right? But until now, that usually meant handing over your personal data to a corporate server. Well, not anymore. We're going to see exactly how you can build a totally private in-house AI workforce.
So let's face a massive real-world privacy dilemma here. Think about it for a second. Giving an app permission to browse the web, write files, and just do things for you is incredible. But there is a whole category of highly sensitive stuff you really shouldn't be handing over to a cloud-based agent. The golden rule from our source material today is pretty straightforward. If you wouldn't DM a document to a stranger or post it on social media, it is probably best left strictly on your own machine. We're talking about things like your bank statements, sensitive legal contracts, or your personal health info. So here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll cover the privacy revolution. Second, the system architecture. Third, an automation walkthrough. And finally, we'll look at the new local reality. Okay, let's dive right into section 1, the privacy revolution. We really have to talk about the inherent risks of the tools we're all using right now. Major agentic tools literally ship your context to servers that are completely out of your control. And look, there's a clear line between what's safe for the cloud and what absolutely demands a local setup. The cloud is totally fine for UI experiments, so basic vibe coding, like managing pitch ideas or organizing a database of your old DVD collection. If that stuff leaks, hey, it's not the end of the world. But for your private files, your health docs, financial records, legal contracts, for those, a local setup isn't just nice to have, it is absolutely essential. You've got to keep cloud agents completely away from those folders. And that leads us straight to the solution, which is Eigent. Eigent is this open-source, local-first alternative to those massive cloud agents. It's essentially a desktop app built on the CAMEL-AI multi-agent framework. Now sure, it can accept cloud APIs if you really want it to, but the setup that actually matters for keeping your workflow locked down is pairing Eigent with a local model. It easily hooks up to tools you might already know, like LM Studio, Ollama, vLLM, or Llama.cpp. For example, you can run this with a super reliable model like Qwen 3.59b. It's powerful enough to handle complex tool calling, but small enough that running it won't, dim the lights in your entire neighborhood.
Moving right along to section 2, system architecture. Let's look under the hood.
What Eigent actually does is pretty mind-blowing. It operates exactly like an in-house team of highly trained specialists, all working in separate rooms. It's not just one AI struggling to juggle everything. It's a true parallel workforce. When you hand Eigent a prompt, a coordinator agent steps in, breaks it down into subtasks, and dispatches them concurrently across all these specialized agents. You've got a developer agent for terminal and code, a search agent for browsing the web, a document agent for handling files, and a multimodal agent for images and audio. And these independent branches, they all run at the exact same time. It is literally like having a project manager directing an entire team right there on your hard drive. This kind of architecture is incredibly robust, mainly because each of these specialized agents maintains its own isolated memory window. That's a huge deal because it ensures context doesn't bleed between them and scramble the output. The document agent is especially impressive here. It handles the usual suspects, right? PDFs, Word docs, Excel, PowerPoint, but it can also process HTML, plain text, and even images using OCR. So remember those scanned bank statements and contracts we talked about? They are perfectly fair game for your private AI to analyze securely. Now, you might be wondering, how do you even keep track of what all these agents are doing behind the scenes? Well, Eigent actually runs a local Postgres database instance right in the background. It meticulously logs every single agent message, every tool call, and every file write. What this means for us is there's zero reliance on some vulnerable web-based dashboard. Whenever you want to check what your AI workforce has been up to, the entire database of receipts is sitting safely right there on your own machine.
All right, let's jump to section 3, automation walkthrough.
Having a local team is amazing, but what if they could actually do the work while you sleep? Eigent has this really sophisticated trigger system that lets your AI clock in without you even being there. Let's walk through a super practical automation, something like an unattended DVD hunt skill. You just open the Schedule tab in the app and you give it a simple plain text prompt, something like run DVD hunt every Sunday at 8 a.m. and save the report to my collection folder. That's it. Eigent parses the schedule and wires up the whole skill. So come Sunday morning, the document agent silently reads a wish list on your drive, while the browser agent simultaneously hits up retailers using an isolated Chromium session. And before you even pour your first cup of coffee, a beautifully dated report is dropped locally right into your folder. So the crucial point here, and I cannot stress this enough, unattended execution never, ever reaches for the cloud when you aren't looking. Your data stays completely locked in a local vault, no matter what time of day or night the task is running.
Let's wrap things up with Section 4, the new local reality.
We really need to bust a stubborn, outdated myth right now. The idea that local AI is just inherently too slow or handicapped to handle serious productivity. I want you to think about this number, 8. As in 8 gigabytes of VRAM. You might assume you'd need this massive, wildly expensive server rack humming in your basement to run a multi-agent AI workforce in parallel. But the truth? This entire local stack can operate effectively on a modest consumer GPU. Sure, you might experience a tiny bit of slowness compared to a billion-dollar data center, but the sheer accessibility of this technology today is staggering. It literally puts a multi-agent workforce directly into the hands of everyday consumers. To really cement this, I want to share a direct quote from the author of our source article who tested this exact home lab setup extensively. They said, "The incapable framing overall is outdated now." And they hit the nail on the head. Local agents used to be this massive compromise. They were slower, they were less capable, even if they were private. But guys, that era is over. With tools like Eigent hooked up to a local model, you're getting a parallel workforce, an automated scheduler, and a Postgres database keeping all the receipts, all without compromising on functionality. It is just a highly robust solution.
Those folders on your computer that you wouldn't let a cloud agent anywhere near, they finally have a capable assistant that can actually work with them securely. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a question to chew on. What off-limits folders will you finally hand over to your own local AI workforce? It is absolutely time to rethink what your hardware can do. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, happy local computing.